Okay, so what we got here is a 2008 PT Cruiser. We're going to be working on the rear drums today. As you can see, I removed everything. The most important part is to make sure these are all cleaned up real good. And when you do these jobs, you're going to want to replace all the internal parts. Don't go cheap and just do a partial replace them all. This one came off pretty easy. What I end up doing is using this sledgehammer and hitting the sides of it to knock it loose. You want to make sure you don't damage this back plate here. This is the only thing that's staying. Everything else has been removed, as you can see. If you have troubles getting the drum off, what you can do is remove your line, take the two bolts out that are going to be from the back side, and you're going to want to do is going to pull this off, okay? And then see these holes here and here. That's the only thing that holds these on. So what you can do, if it's not budging on you, can't get this old drum off, you can go ahead and just drill a smaller hole here in the back side, and it will release the pin for you. This is an example of what the pin looks like. It's very small. It's got a big head on it, so don't go to the size of the head. You just need a smaller drill. Hit it in the center, get that head to pop off, and unbolt the two bolts, and the whole thing will slide off with all the components inside. In this case, I did not have to do this on this side. This side, I was able to, like I said, I used this sledgehammer. I hit the side of the drum, loosened it up, and it shimmied off. It was pretty easy. And then after that, I went ahead and I scrubbed and cleaned this with Brillo pad, and sprayed some brake cleaner, and cleaned it up really good. And now we're getting ready to install the parts. And as you can see, this one here was metal to metal contact on the front pad. But once you get all this out, it's really pretty simple to do. It's not as difficult as people say. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to install the new parts, and then we will resume the video so you can see what it looks like. So here are the new components. What we have here is the adjuster. I got these parts from Advanced Auto Parts, and I had to order online because the local store didn't have it. This here is a spring kit. As you can see, it's got new rubber boots in there, right there. And you got new pins and clips, and your three springs. And the kit comes enough for both sides. One kit covers both sides. These, however, you have to buy two of these, and one's a right and one's a left, so they're a little bit different. And then of course they got new shoes, and a new rotor. Okay, so what I did is I installed the wheel cylinder. I reattached the back line and put the two bolts in, and then I put these rubber boots back in, and they install from the back side. There's two of them, one here, one here. And now that the line is installed, we'll bleed it later. The next step would be to put this pad on with the arm, and that arm there is going to connect to your parking brake line, which is right here. And all you do is you pull the spring back and you slide it in this notch here. See the notch? It's not too bad, but you need two hands to do it. show you what's next. Okay, so the parking brake cable was installed to that arm. This arm here. It's on the new brake pad. I installed the pin and the clamp here. Now this is movable. It's fine. And next we're going to install the opposite side. We're going to go ahead and put together our adjuster. Our adjuster looks like this. This is a self adjuster. All brake drums have them. Basically the way it works is that it keeps the tension on the brake as you use it, which we'll show you how that works in a little bit here. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take these parts out of the bag and lubricate the threads around this nut here, so the nut will spin freely for its lifetime of the brake. And once this is assembled, I will put the other side on with the pin through the hole in the other bracket, and I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so what I did here is I installed this pad here, went ahead and put it on the pin, and it was loose, and you're able to move this stuff around. It moves around quite a bit. And then what I did is I installed the adjuster. The hook end goes into the side with the parking brake arm, and it slides into a little hole right up in there. As you can see, mine's not quite in all the way yet. And then the adjuster is on the opposite side, usually towards the front of the car. Let's see here. Let's see if I can get you a little better picture. Okay. So the adjuster is right here. And this arm right here slides on that pin there, bottom pin. Right now everything's loose. I don't have any springs on yet. And that will be our next step, would be to put the springs on and then adjust this. And what we're going to do is we'll adjust it by turning this screw here, and that will widen it, contract it, or whatever positioning we need. And what we'll do is we'll put the outer drum on. We'll get it as tight as we can so that we're making as much surface contact as possible, and then we'll back it off a quarter turn and install the drum. Okay, so what I did is I installed the top orange spring. As you can see, it goes into the slots, the square slots on both sides. And then I installed the black spring at the bottom. And of course you want to make sure your shoes are behind that little plate. Okay, and now what I did is I left that green spring off. Now that green spring, it goes right on the back of this arm. See that little hole right there? It's right there. See that hole? Sorry for the lighting. But that hole right there, and then it connects to that hole right there in the shoe, that hole right there. And the way that will go on is just like this. It'll go, this major spring end will be up high like that. The longer end will be reached around there. Well, we're going to leave that off right now, and the reason why is so that we can spin that blue nut which will allow us to adjust the brake to fit to the drum. So right now the next step would be to make these pads adjustment until they fit the drum quite tightly, not real tight where you're hammering on, but where you can feel a little resistance on the drum. And once we get that set, we'll be putting on the green spring. Okay, everything is installed. It's adjusted to the new rotor or drum. What I did is I put these two wrenches up here, just a screwdriver and a wrench, so I can do this with one hand. I wanted to show you how this adjuster works on that blue screw. So all I'm going to do is act like the brake is working, and you can see how the adjuster works. So see how it pulls that down, and now I let off the brake. I push the brake again. See how it spins the nut? So what it's doing is it's keeping tension on your drum brake. Okay, so now the next step would be is to get this rotor or this drum on and bleed the brake. And to bleed the brake, all I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the cap off the the master cylinder, and I'm going to add a little fluid, and then I'm going to take the bleeder off here, and I'm just going to bleed the air out using the brake pedal, and that's pretty much, that's all it takes. It's not terribly difficult to do a drum brake, and you can save yourself a ton of money having somebody else do it for you. There is only 3 springs on these, and that's this orange, this green, and this black one at the bottom. Now I've used simple household tools such as a mallet. I used a crowbar on the one that was giving me a little bit of trouble, a line wrench, and I use that to remove the brake line so you don't strip the nut. Just a crescent wrench. It seems to be a 10 millimeter, and a pair of vice grips, and I completed the entire job with these tools here. Wasn't terribly difficult. Like I said, replace all the internal parts. Do not try to use any old stuff. If you look at the old stuff here, there's just so much brake residue and dust, and it's just not going to work properly for you, and you're not going to get your value out of replacing your pads. Oh, I forgot this wrench here, which is 5/16, and I use this on the bleeder, and it's just a ratchet style wrench. You don't need that, but 5/16 will do the bleeder, and after that you're done. It's really a pretty simple job. Just make sure that your tensioner is working properly. As you can see, that little arm here is underneath that fork on that adjuster. Holds it in place. Sits on the bottom pin, and this here is a stop pin for it. And there's the adjuster behind that orange screw. And the hook end will be always on your pad that has the arm for your parking brake, which is way back there now. Yeah, can you see it there? Right there. Okay, well, I hope this helps. If you got any questions, feel free to comment. Subscribe to my video. Thank you.